Hi everyone, welcome to the Landscapers Grow Together video interview series with successful business owners in the landscaping and pool construction space. Today I've got with me a special guest, Paula Warman from Aura Landscapes and the Landscaper Circle, and we're going to talk together about growing a landscaping business, the problems that you can encounter and how to resolve them. So hi Paula, and thanks for joining me.
Hello, nice to see you.
Yeah. Can you, just give me a quick intro on yourself and what you do?
Okay, so obviously my name's Paula Warman and I am the Managing Director of Aura Landscapes. We're based in Southampton and cover all of the South Coast really, Hampshire, Surrey, installing patios, driveways and doing the complete design and build side. I'm also part of another company called the Landscaper Circle, which is an online platform for landscapers to join and learn. Basically, it's an e-learning site where they can learn everything about marketing, business, growing their landscaping company, making it more profitable, and other things that you probably don't get taught as a landscaper when you first start out. So that's me really.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, we'll go into a little bit about both the businesses and just get some of your expertise. So you've been running Aura Landscapes for 10 years alongside your husband, and can you tell me a little bit about the journey and maybe the milestones that you kind of went through? Like, what were the big moments in terms of like growing the business and getting it to, where it is now, successful?
Okay, so how it all began, my husband basically started the business way back in 2012, having had a landscaping business before with a business partner, and that partnership broke down. So he set out on his own. He had a clear idea of what he wanted to achieve. So he wanted to be the best landscaper in the South, and to do high-end projects.
Mm.
As part of that, he knew he needed to market the company, but he had no idea where to start. He also didn't really have much of an idea of how to run a business apart from handing all your bills to an accountant and bookkeeper to sort out. So he kind of asked me. I already ran my own sales and marketing consultancy, and I was just doing it in the gym industry at the time. And he basically asked me to come on board. So I then came on board to run all the marketing and sales, and then it eventually ended up with me running basically the entire admin and back end side of the business, while he went out and did the landscaping, the quotes and the design. So and that was back then. Now it's pretty much the same. I still run Aura Landscapes marketing, most of the sales side of things, and also all the admin, finance, and everything. So I wear quite a lot of hats. Mike does all the quoting, design, and installation. He runs the teams. So it stayed that way for 9 years.
Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, from my perspective and the people that I talk to, it kind of sounds like everyone needs like a you in their landscaping business. Like someone to handle someone to handle the sales and marketing, really, because I think that from speaking to many people in the space, that seems to be maybe the area that they like is underdeveloped maybe. So I'm sure that's like a huge part of you guys doing so well, is like having that strong partnership on that side. Are there other things that you would recommend for someone who's trying to maybe like reach the 6-figure mark or anything like that, just to really develop and scale as well, like taking on people and stuff like that?
Well, we've kind of done the whole journey where we scaled to, I think at our biggest, we had 14 people working for us. We had a yard, we had numerous vehicles, etc. So we've done the whole growth, and now we're back down to sort of, there's only 3 of us at the moment and a couple of subbies. So we've completely scaled back. We now work back from home as well. So rid of the yard. We do have a home office, so I can be slightly separate from being in the house all the time. But it just made more sense about 2 years ago, well, probably a bit more now, 2 and a bit years ago. It all came a bit crashing down, because what happened, and I think it's an important thing for other landscapers to be aware of when they're growing, it can all seem really good and you can put all your figures in, you can look at your finances and you're thinking, brilliant, let's take more people on, let's get a yard. And then as you grow, you kind of, your eye comes off the ball. So for Mike, he had to manage probably 11 of those guys out there doing landscaping jobs. That's 3 or 4 jobs running at the same time.
Yeah.
That meant he was running around like headless chicken, as well as trying to get new jobs in. And if you can imagine, to get the amount of work in that we needed to keep everybody employed and everything running, we needed to quote, I think it was about 60 jobs a month. That's just quote 60, I think it was 60 artificial grass jobs and 20 landscaping jobs. So that's 80 site visits that Mike had to go to a month, as well as making sure the lads were doing what we expected, and that the jobs were running okay and the customers were okay. Me, on the other hand, went off and had 2 children. So I was in and out on maternity leave, and I had 3 members of staff running the office. So, because obviously to generate 80 site visits, you're looking at probably 160 people that we have to talk to get a 50% conversion rate. And that's if you've got a 50% conversion rate. Obviously not everyone has. So it was a lot of work to keep up with the website, to keep up with the content you had to put out there, to keep all the marketing, the leads coming in. And yeah, that was where it kind of all went wrong, really.
So you decided to, you know, slim back and almost like go back to first principles and kind of start again, I suppose.
Yeah. So at that moment, it was royally clear, a couple of years in, that we had taken our eye off the ball quite a lot, and we hadn't got control of the finances, all the basics that we had in place originally, but obviously changed due to circumstances and the growth, such rapid growth, that we then had to obviously make the decision to cut back, scale right back down to how we were in the beginning, which was very difficult. As an entrepreneur and a business owner, you never ever want to go backwards, but in going backwards you move forward. So if we had carried on, the company would have gone, because we'd been too far in debt, whereas we stopped it at the right time, scaled back, made a lot of savings, got rid of the yard, moved back home, and managed to pull the company back into a profitable position. So a huge learning curve.
And
lots of lessons learned.
And it's just like you said, you know, sometimes you might have to like take a step back in order to take a step forward.
Yes, definitely.
And I think when you know, if you're in a position to have to start again in that sense, you have all the learning that you've gone through in the process. So, you know, wherever you're trying to get to, like, you're going to do it faster or more efficiently or whatever, just because you've got all of that knowledge now and experience that you didn't have the first time.
I'm so glad, really. I'm really glad. It sounds weird to say, but I'm so happy that it happened to us, because now we know so much more, and we've learned so much more, and we've grown so much more, not only as a company, but as, you know, personally wise, as business owners, as landscapers. And now we, you know, the company has changed hugely. And yeah, I'm really happy. Weirdly, really happy.
Yeah, I get that. What would you say to someone who maybe that their company is taking off in a similar way, and they want to scale it, and they're ambitious as well, like I know you guys are? What would you say to them to like pay attention to, so that they don't take their eye off the ball, like you said?
So pay attention to your cash flow forecasting. I didn't do it half as much as I should have done. And I didn't do it half as much as I should have done, the cash flow. Obviously my circumstance was a bit different. Not many male landscapers will go off and have babies, but if they have got their wives running the back end of the business, that's something obviously that you have to be aware of, because that's where your focus will drop. And yeah, the cash flow went out the window, and so did really keeping an eye on the marketing. So I left it a lot to the girls I employed in the office, and really I should have been more on top of what they'd paid out to use, like the marketing strategy they were using, because that was obviously getting a bigger and bigger cost for us. The other side of things is the staff. We had too many staff on too many jobs at one time that couldn't physically be there checking on what they were installing. And another thing that flagged up was a really bad installation, and that we realised that, hang on, some of these guys aren't as skilled as they should be in what they were being paid to do. So yeah, it's really keep an eye on the finance, keep an eye on your staff, and keep an eye on your marketing strategy, because it can get signed into a lot of different things that you may think, yeah, that's a quick win, or that will be easier to get leads in, and actually they're not as good as you might think. So they were really my 3 key areas.
Yeah, that's super interesting and super helpful. I think it's some of those are things that people don't necessarily talk about as like as struggles, particularly the cash flow thing, like keeping on top of
the finance side of things. Another thing that scales out when you grow, obviously the massive with landscaping, where it's very staff heavy, so every time you grow you have to get obviously new staff, new men on the ground, then more tools and more vans, and essentially once you grow to the size we were, you had to have a yard, because there's no way I could park all the vehicles and extra materials, the storage for that, and the storage for the tools. So you have to take that into consideration, and that's what happens then is your overheads just rocket out of control, which is something that obviously when I realised there was an issue, that is the thing that I had to then start chomping back on, like what overheads can we get rid of, what members of staff have to go who aren't as good as we thought they were, or lots of things then had to look at. So overheads are a massive thing, because also as your overheads grow, your prices that you're quoting your customers are going to go up, because you have to incorporate those overheads into your some people forget about basics like fuel, accountants, the marketing costs that you have. Do you have a marketing budget? Have you priced that into your quote on every job? We do more about that in the landscape circle and various things, but it's everything like that, and it's all these little things that then will build up, and then hopefully people can learn from my mistakes and not do that. But it can happen, and I know a lot of landscapers personally who have scaled up and then decided actually it's more profitable, less stressful to scale back. So there's a lot of people that have done the same thing. Maybe not.
It's making a choice, isn't it, as well? Like it's definitely more stressful to have a bigger operation, so it's whether you want that or not. So yeah, that's really interesting stuff. One of the things that I thought was cool about you guys is that you have quite a few awards. So you have awards from Association of Professional Landscapers, which is an important body in the UK, and from Who's and others. So I wondered if you could talk about like how the awards process works. I think it's great for PR, and it the business looks great. And do you get nominated? Do you apply? How does that work?
With most of the awards, you apply. So various bodies now do it. It used to be mainly manufacturers, so Marshalls, Bradstone, Tallassee, all of these manufacturers run their own award scheme. So every year you can put a project in, as long as it's done it, as long as it's laid with their products, you can put an award. And they have regional and national awards. The other part, the other award bodies have been sort of the Association of Professional Landscapers. Again, you apply, you enter your projects into that. Again, it doesn't really matter a manufacturer then, so that's when you can really put in some really cool projects. Who's, again, that isn't a nomination, that is Who's decide. If you've got good reviews and you've got lots of customers interacting with you on that platform, then you can be nominated for the service category, which we have been a few times. Other awards that I like to look at are kind of business related, because obviously you're not just a landscaper. Your work, yes, that's one part of the aspect, but the other part is, are you a good business? Are you great at customer service, for instance? Are you a good business owner? Are you running a successful business, etc.? So I have entered a number of awards in this category. The Venus Awards, which is for women entrepreneurs. Also, the Entrepreneur Circle, I was part of that. So they had a yearly award set, you know, going out there, and we won one of those. Um, and also, similarly, Pro Landscaper, so it's the landscaping magazine. They do yearly awards now as well, and Pro Landscaper Business Awards as well. So there's quite a lot of avenues. It takes, I think, why some people probably don't do it is because it takes a bit of time, because you have to have all your images ready.
Yeah.
Particularly for obviously the project side of the awards. So have all your images ready, and you've got to have before, during, afters, you know, the brief from the customer, designs, all of that. So that's one part. If you're entering a business award, there's a lot of paperwork to do, because you have to be answering a lot of the questions. So I know some of the categories have been like influencers or business growth. So you have to demonstrate that you are an influencer or that you've grown significantly. So there's quite a lot of work that goes into it. But plus side, I think it sets you apart from other people. There's not landscapers that have got 26 awards to their name. And, you know, I make a point of entering awards yearly, just so that people can see that our standards haven't dropped. You'll see a lot of people who will go in, they might have won awards in 2010, but they haven't won these for the last 10 years. So I think it's important to continue to enter these, hopefully along the way.
Would you say to like have it as part of your yearly marketing plan, essentially, is to just set aside some time to make the entries?
That is kind of my only marketing bit, because where we've scaled back, and where we've built a very good brand name and reputation, we don't need to put our energies into marketing in the traditional sense anymore. So, you know, my marketing strategy has changed massively, and that's probably one of the only things that I've continued on is the yearly awards. That I think it's quite important. So, for instance, the ones we're looking at the moment are the APLs and Marshalls. So, again, I've got to set aside some time to go and get some photos of various projects and do all the paperwork.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I mean, I think it sets you aside, like you said. It gives you authority. It shows other people. It's like evidence that you are good at what you do, and it's also good for your brand.
It's a great PR exercise, because for every time we win an award, I write a press release and send it out, and whether someone or not, it's fine. We have had pieces in Pro Landscaper, and also in the local news. So, because obviously as a business, it's quite good that you're still going, really, and you're still achieving these awards and being successful.
Yeah, it's awesome. So one other thing relating to landscaping business, and then we'll talk about TLC as well. So one of the things that you mentioned earlier was the struggle of kind of hiring the right staff, and this is something that I hear a lot as well. A lot of people that I talk to, their main problem is, you know, getting the right staff they might have a lot of demand, but they can't necessarily fulfill the demand because they can't find like the skilled work or whatever. So do you have any tips for finding the right people?
I wish I had all the answers. I tell you now, I'm a very rich person. I think if anyone can find that answer of how to find good staff, I think there's lots of things going on in the industry at the moment where people are promoting landscaping as a viable career path. And lots of extra training you can do via manufacturers and via other places to improve your skills. So there's ways of getting people more skilled and more competent at landscaping, and it's getting more out there as a career again. But at the moment, we do struggle to find skilled landscapers are more hard to find. Labourers are pretty easy to find, but it's whether they turn up to do a trial day, because that's my main key now. Having taken on quite a lot of staff at one point, never really changed the way we've advertised. So we always use Indeed and sort of Facebook and social media to try and get any referrals of existing staff and people we know in the industry. However, what we're finding at the moment is people don't turn up for their trial day. So we've decided to do it that we used to do an interview process and then trial days and then continue on. But now, because obviously we're a lot smaller team and Mike's pretty much on the tools all the time, we've now decided to just go straight into a trial day, have a phone interview with said person, get for a trial day and see how they are and go from there. Unfortunately, the last 3 haven't turned up. So I don't know, you know, these are for labourers, so they're youngsters. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a tough one. Like,
It is.
as an industry as a whole, it sounds like something that a lot of people are struggling with and maybe crying out for a solution as well.
I mean, apprenticeships are really good. We've still got one of the lads who works for us who came on as an apprentice 5 years ago, and now he's running his own team. So, and he's very loyal, and he's the aura way. He knows our way, and he's passionate and enthusiastic. If you can afford to take on some apprentices through apprenticeships, you know, that's definitely a way forward. We took on quite a few apprentices when we grew. Some of them stayed with us. Obviously, when we scaled back, we couldn't keep everyone, but they do tend to be better.
Okay, so you saw some, I don't know, problems in the industry or things that people are maybe missing out on, like information wise, when they're building their companies, which is why you decided to set up the Landscaper Circle. So yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. The Landscaper Circle was pretty much born from the fact that I saw a lot of landscapers asking Mike, you know, my husband, how did you get those inquiries? How are you growing your business? How, you know, you're getting all these awards, doing all this. Well, obviously there's someone behind that. And yes, it's down, you know, you've got the guys on the ground and the landscaping, but no one really thinks about the time and effort it takes to do all the admin behind the scenes, the award entries, for example, and your complete marketing strategy and running a business. No one's been taught how to run a business. They're generally taught to landscape, and you're never then taught, oh, here you go, here's how you run a business. It's just not really that way. So you sort of learn on the job. And so that's why really I saw a gap that, you know, there's potentially a number of landscaping companies out there that are maybe just starting up, are going through a growth period, are well established, but maybe they're still struggling with cash flow forecasting or running their finances or their marketing strategy. Have they got a marketing strategy? Do they know what they're going to do, or are they just playing it by ear? If Checkatrade phones them, are they booking on with them, or are they just asking? I know a lot of groups where, you know, people just ask, who's doing what works, etc. So kind of the Landscape Circle is there now really to help other landscapers run their business better, grow their business, and market their business well. And obviously learn from a lot of my experience as well, because obviously my background is sales and marketing predominantly. That's what I've done for many, many, many years. And I was only thrown into the landscaping industry because of my husband. So, so it's, you know, when you work in the industry as well, I know when I first took on this role with Aura Landscapes, and I'd ask people about what they would do in their marketing, and if they don't know about landscaping, they actually have no idea. They just think that it runs the same as an office-based business, and it's very different. Most marketing techniques you can apply to every industry, but some things are slightly different. And when you know landscaping and you've run your own landscaping business, I think you can impart more relevant information to other people, like what actually would work, what doesn't. I mean, we've tried loads of stuff, so, and some of it's been successful, some of it hasn't in Aura Landscape. So if I can pass that on to somebody else and they can stop making any mistakes they might be making, or just grow their business through learning how to run a business better, or through what works in the marketing field, then I've done my job. So yeah, our aim is to help as many landscapers in the world be better business owners, better marketers, so essentially they can have the landscaping business that they've always dreamed of, whether that's small but highly profitable, or large and completely dominating their area. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Do you think that people struggle to see themselves as business owners, you know, in this space when they're starting out?
Yeah, I do. And I also think when they're on the tools all the time, my husband has it. He doesn't, when he gets home, he doesn't really want to get on the computer and do stuff. So, you
Yeah,
know,
it's
you have to,
tiring, right?
it's tiring out that, you know, they're on the tools all day doing a very demanding job,
Mm,
physical job. And then if you've got no one to help you in the, you know, back end of the business, then they're sat up doing their quotes and sending their invoices, trying to get the money in. And then also they've got to then think of, oh, how am I going to get more leads? Have I got enough leads for this month? Or, you know,
mm,
I know Mike used to worry, you know, if we weren't booked up 3 months in advance, he'd start panicking, and then we'd switch on one of our marketing funnels, and sure enough, he'd be booked up then, and he
mm,
wouldn't stress anymore. But if he
mm.
didn't have that, it would be a very stressful and tiring job, really.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so people struggle to see themselves as business owners. Is there a kind of mindset switch that you would kind of encourage them to take? Like
Oh,
what's the urgency? What are they losing out by not kind of switching into this gear?
I think they're not necessarily losing out, but I think they could be missing a few tricks, and also they could then fall into the trap we did, where you take your eye off the ball and things, you know, go down the pan, so to speak. I think the mindset. I mean, I'm massively into mindset and changing your mindset into sort of a more positive thing. All of that sort of things.
Mm,
We will be doing a whole topic on this in the Landscaper Circle as well. So,
mm,
but even just the main change I've started to apply to life of as a business owner, and
mm,
whether you're a landscaping business owner or not, is life happens for you, not to you. So if you start to look at things in that way, you won't suddenly think, oh, that customer's being a complete, you know, and getting really down about it, and then
mm,
potentially then not getting on with the work that you need to do in the background. You know, all of these things can obviously impact on us mentally if you've got a problem customer, or like us, our business was failing, but we didn't even realize, you know, and that can really drain you and mentally put you in a bad place, and that's not
mhm,
going to get you to where you want to be. So if you start looking at everything as this is happening for me, not to me. Now, you know, for us, the whole Oral Landscapes almost failing happened for me, not to me. It happened to teach me loads of lessons. At the time, I was crying my eyes out nearly every day. Like, what am I going to do? I've got to do this. I'm heavily pregnant. I'm just about to give birth, and all this is
mm. Yeah.
happening. But by trying to put yourself into that mindset of everything's happening for you, not to you, you think of a positive spin on everything, you can push yourself through. And obviously, Oral Landscapes is still running. It's now turned into a profitable business again.
Yeah.
We're much less stressed.
Mhm,
And actually, we've adopted far more mindset techniques now after everything that's happened.
mm,
Such as like meditation, journaling, and all these things might sound a bit fluffy, but actually it can really help focus, de-stress you after, you know, there's so many demands as a business owner. You have to wear about 1,000 hats,
yeah.
depending on who you're talking to and what you're doing in the day. And
Yeah.
it's no different for Joe Bloggs, a landscaper down the road. You know, he's just got a physical job in the day and admin at night, and he's got to think about marketing. And if you are taking on staff, you do then have to put on your HR hat, which who knows about human resources? And, you know,
Yeah.
you have to learn a lot. So yeah, keeping your mindset in the positive frame of mind, and you know, that could be anything, just taking walks, listening to inspirational podcasts, like we're doing now, like interviews with people that inspire you or you want to
Mm,
hear more of, anything like that, to try and get your mind off the problems that you're facing,
mm,
potentially stress, and try and get you into a more balanced, calm state.
mm.
Can only be positive for your business.
Yeah. And kind of like you said, it doesn't seem like it when you're going through it, but your problems can be opportunities as well,
Oh yeah,
whether it's learning opportunities or opportunities to take that step back and kind of rebuild bigger and better sort of thing.
yeah.
So I completely agree.
Everything's an opportunity, in my opinion,
Mm,
until
mm.
it tells me that it's not. We have to change direction.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was really awesome. Thanks so much for coming on this series and sharing your wisdom. Like, it's been super interesting to hear everything that
Thank
you guys have been through, and yeah, and I'd love to have you back on as well to talk more about mindset and maybe sales aspect of things as well. So yeah, hopefully we can do another one soon.
you.
Yeah, thanks again. And I'll drop links to your website for Aura Landscapes and also to TLC, so everyone who is interested can check those out. And yeah, speak soon. Thanks, Paula.
No worries. Thanks, Madeline.
Bye.